Hello, beautiful people and fellow whiners, and welcome to A Little Something to Whine About with your host, Siobhan Camille.
And Tae Michelle.
Where we whine while we whine, W-I-N-E, about life, relationships, and culture, because sometimes you just need to whine a little. It is third Wednesday, which means we are whining with the guys, and we brought the guys, the OG guys. We got the husband and the boyfriend, as he is newly been indoctrinated. And they are here with us to talk about masculinity. We're going to talk about it today. So grab your glass of red, white, rosé, sparkling cider, whatever it is that floats your fancy.
Water,
sparkling water. Anything that you need to do to make you feel great. And join us on the couch.
Oh, goodness. Hey, y'all. This is the third week of January. I hope you all's 2020 have been
2022.
Oh, sorry, 2022. You're right.
Yeah, let's not go back to 2020, man.
That wasn't the year. 2022. I hope you guys, just New Year in general, have been nice. Before we jump into our topic, you guys know we like to do a let's catch up, because it's been 7 days, and a lot can happen in 7 days, as we know. So, Siobhan, what's going on in the household? How's you doing? How's your feelings?
I think we good. We good.
Yeah, we good. We good.
I don't have a gun down here. He looked threatened. Didn't he look threatened when I asked the question? I think we good.
He looked like he was doing one of these numbers.
I'm gonna say he blinking like the husband over there. I'm gonna blink twice. We good. No, we good.
No, we good. We good. We good. We good.
We good. Okay.
Okay.
And how y'all doing?
We're good now. The beginning of this year, for those who don't know, we record a couple weeks in advance. So we had a little break, during the holidays and stuff. And COVID decided to pay me a visit with no symptoms. So my asymptomatic behind was going, who got COVID? And then to be the only one in the house.
Somebody lying is what it sounds like.
Yeah. So at this point, it was like, you kind of go through the whole, ooh, I got COVID thing, but at the same time, I was like, girl, you got COVID. But you don't have no symptoms. But then more so than anything, I was concerned about the kids. Girl, it is so crazy around here right now trying to get a COVID to us. It's just.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Whatever. But anyway, other than that, I got stuck in the snow today.
It took us an hour to shovel us so I could get the car behind his truck.
Yeah, I got stuck in the snow. I went to work early and no problem. Road was clear. Not the road, the road was clear as far as cars. It was a smooth trip on the way home. It was a good trip until I got off the exit and started going up the smallest slope ever. And not only my car, it was like, girl, that little small slope was taking us out. We was spinning out. I was like, what is going on? And I have 4-wheel drive. So I'm trying to figure out, my 4-wheel drive not working. Oh my God. I was like, what, fuck this. I'm gonna call my daddy and my husband because they was together. So my spoiled rotten side kicked in. I had heat. So I was like, I'm gonna sit here and wait. And then something was like, turn your car off, start it back up, and then try. Well, I turned my car off, started it back up, and took off.
Yeah.
I was like, so I think my traction sensor thing or whatever that is might have went off or something. And when I cut my car off and cut it back on, how things reboot and stuff, I think that might have happened because I put it in a low gear and I just took right off. This is after me sitting there for almost 2 hours?
About an hour and a half tops.
I did a spin around.
The snow underneath the car probably melted from the car being on too.
That's possible.
Possible, yeah.
That's definitely possible. I don't know. I just know. I just took off and was like, "Hey, I don't have to come get me out on my way home now." Meanwhile, the reason why they never got to me is because it was a car crash on the other side of the beltway. It was a mess.
18-wheeler jackknife.
Oh, yes, right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then idiots tried to go around and got stuck.
Look, dude.
4-lane highway. Blocked off.
I saw it all this morning. Well, first thing this morning, I started the truck and it was only sleeting and raining. And I got the board straight while the truck was running. So 15, 20 minutes, I come outside, it's white. And I'm like, this, what? So I get out there, we make an attempt. I had to turn around because one of the streets was blocked off because somebody was this way and not this way. And going up the road, the car in front of me kept swerving until finally he was facing me head on. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
I pulled beside him. I'm like, good,
Yeah.
I kept on going.
Yeah. I seen cars literally. Their wheels were turned this way. The car was this way. And it was just like the wheel was just pulling the car. Like, I was like, this is some amazing stuff.
Oh, no.
While I'm sitting on the side of the road. My mother is on the phone with me and she like, you sound like you enjoying yourself. I said, I'm gonna be honest. I'm good. She was like, okay, you too happy to be on the side of the road. I don't need to be upset. It's not gonna change nothing. But I made it home safe. Almost got stuck coming into the parking lot. But I made it.
Oh yeah, we have a tree down in the backyard.
Yeah.
Fell in between the garage and the trampoline. Couldn't been placed in the
I'm glad it didn't fall on the house.
Right. I got good insurance though.
I mean, that's good too, but that's still a lot.
That is a lot.
It is.
That's a lot.
It is.
So, for those who wanted a white Christmas, we didn't get
Listen, that was my first thought, but
this is what happens when we get white stuff. Everything goes cuckoo.
Right.
So, Michelle, what are you whining on before we whine with you?
January was still in the Stella Rose collection, so I picked Stella Rose Golden Honey Peach. My lovely wine bottle model. Yeah. I hope that's where I'm at. I'm preparing for the sweetness.
Yeah. So we have Stella Rosa L'Originale collection, and we got the red apple. He was in the store and called me on the phone and named all of them as he was going. I almost got the golden one that you got, and I was just like, you know what? Let's just do this apple. And then I guess my mind was hoping for like a tart apple, but I know good and daggone well that's probably not what's gonna happen.
Not probably.
And it's crazy because Stella Rosa, listen, before we're gonna get to this topic, but I just want to say, first of all, this thing says it's a 6. Said that last.
I didn't even look at the back because I feel like
said that last week. But literally everything he's naming, I'm like, y'all don't do nothing but fruits. He was like peach, golden peach, red apple, tart apple,
watermelon.
Watermelon. I said no. Vanilla.
I was like, I might hit the mango next week just as the salutation. Thank God we're done. For Stella Rosa, but this month of January is with the sweetness. Okay.
Yeah, I thought about going back to the tropical mango just because we had it and I knew what it was, but I'm not gonna do that. I got it in the refrigerator. I'm gonna keep popping them grapes. So next week I'll be popping a rosé. which is already sweet by definition. I mean, like I said, dry rosés, but like anyway.
Right. So for those who don't know, we give wine reviews at the end of each episode. Let us know in the comments below, ladies and gentlemen. Have you had Stella Rosa? What's your favorite one? We want to know. Did you make it a cocktail? Like how did you unsweeten this sweet drink? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Yes, we do. Okay, so let's whine on this here topic of today. This topic came up because it comes up a lot in group conversation. So we figure, hey, let's talk about it. Let's scratch the surface of this topic of masculinity. As you guys know, we did talk about femininity and if it still existed, and we scratched the surface of that a little bit. So we figured, let's talk about masculinity and let's hear from the guys on this one. We have our own opinions on it, which I'm sure you will hear pieces of today, but we definitely want to hear from our guys of our generation. What's up with the masculinity? Is it here? Is it gone? We hear the term toxic masculinity, so it's been labeled as something horribly wrong. What are you guys' thoughts on just masculinity in general?
I like how everybody reached for their glass and they all reached for the glass.
The problem is
the prep. Yeah.
The problem is because defining masculinity is more social than it is biological. And I think that becomes part of the issue because it's almost like falling down the same road as gender roles. You know what I mean? And that's a hard one. I don't even know if it's still here with some of this new generation stuff that's going on because, me coming up, masculinity was, you had to be hard, you had to be, you had to be in control of everything, you brought home the bacon, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm at this age, I'm not too sure if that's what this defines, masculinity. Like in my mind, being able to handle most situations, you know what I mean? You're the one that everybody in the house runs to solve problems, you know what I mean? And being able to hold it down, not breaking under pressure, being able to put your body through certain situations that most people won't, undergoing long hours of work if need be, being able to provide during the times when most people can't. But that also can fall under gender roles. So it's kind of hard to define it, I don't know. And I gotta say it like that because a lot of the definitions that come to mind goes under that whole gender role thing, So I think part of it is just making sure that you're the provider, you're the protector. You know what I mean? Like making sure that through it all, you have the strength to hold it. That's part of being masculine. Making sure without a doubt, nobody looks at you and say, oh, he's got some feminine ways. You know what I mean? Like like not looking too girlish, and I use that term loosely because I don't want to offend anybody because, this day and age, you can't call people girls or boys anymore.
Everybody's offended in this day and age.
I was about to say, listen, we offend every week. We've offended everybody, I'm sure.
I guarantee, and anybody, if you're new here, if you're going to watch this, because we are who we are, you are probably going to be offended.
Right. Yeah, I mean, possibly.
So, don't spare anybody's feelings. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
Definitely not trying to spare, feelings. It's defining it, I think, changes over time. If you think of, years ago when men were hunters, that was one of the things that it was considered to be masculine, to go out and hunt the biggest game that you could find and bring it home and throw it on the table. Flexing in front of guys, always, wrestling, seeing who's stronger, that type of thing. I mean, they still have games out now, not, outside of the Olympics, but they have, strongman games where you show how masculine you are and things like that. But that definition is not going to hold weight in some households, because some households are going to be like, well, that doesn't do anything for me. That doesn't define this household here. My husband worked from home and he's very masculine. I don't think he's ever lifted a gun in his life. So that doesn't define masculinity in this house. I'm actually stronger than him. But that's only because I physically work and he, sits at a desk. That's not saying that changes it, but he doesn't have to lift a finger too much where I'm lifting boxes and stuff all day long. So I think it's going to vary between guys. Mine is always being able to provide what's needed. If we are outside and the car breaks down, I'm going to do my best to fix it. If there's a threat, I'm going to be the one that takes the first hit or throw the first punch. I'm going to get in front. I'm going to be that guy. We have things around the house that just needs to be done. I make sure it's done, stuff like that. I make sure that nobody can say that I'm not pulling my part. So, without a shadow of a doubt, she knows that if it's needed, I'm going to figure it out. If she hasn't already found it. Sometimes with her, she's like, yeah, this was a problem. I already took care of it. It's done. Okay. So I mean, it's a lot, behind it. It doesn't mean that, a fight presents itself. Yeah, I got to jump into it. If I'm protecting somebody, if I'm protecting her, my family, whatever, automatic. Doesn't mean that I'm stronger than the next person, but I'm going to, I'm going to jump in before anybody else gets hit. Now if you take me down, it is what it is. But
just because I jump out there don't mean I'm a win. So
right. But I put
somebody got to be
there.
there for the come up, for the for the
You can't beat everybody. That's just.
I tell everybody got somebody. Okay, everybody has somebody.
And the husband, sir.
Oh Lord, we about to definitely get some controversy. Okay.
I'm going to offend you. I don't care. I'm gonna be straight up. But I'm gonna harp off of what Marshall said. To me, it part of it is a man being a man. Just that. You know what I'm saying? We've always been raised the same way we raise our boys. If you fall down, why you crying? Pick yourself up. Dust yourself off. You know what I'm saying? And this day and age, not to say we shouldn't show emotion, but I think we've harped so much on showing your emotions. That's why a lot of these men are soft. Because granted, most of us, for the most part, have always been raised by women. Even if you had a father in the household, most of the time your pops was working. Mm-hmm. So your mom was ultimately raising you. Yes, your father chimed in here or there, but a lot of it did come from your mom. But your mom also raised you to be a man. Nowadays, a lot of women specifically are raising want to be their kids' best friend. You know what I'm saying? Where now all that toughness is gone, and then now you got media period, not even just social media period, pushing this gay agenda. Just call it what it is, which is ultimately you like who you like. I don't care nothing about that, but everything that I turn on, I should not see. You know what I'm saying? I can hang around a group of friends and none of us be gay.
Right.
But why is it every show that I turn on, at least one person on that show is gay? Like all of a sudden it's not normal for us to be what God created us to be. Because again, like I say, I don't knock, you like who you like. Two women can't have a baby and lay down. Two men can't lay down and have a baby. Until you prove me otherwise, that means that's not what it's supposed to be. Point blank, period. But in being masculine, yes, you're the king of your castle. You're the protector. You're the provider. We're gonna work those jobs. I've had it, when we first got married, I had it where I was gone for almost 3 days, like nonstop, just straight working. I was literally leaving one job, going to the next,
right,
to make sure that the bills were paid in the house. It was one of them. When I would see my kids, I'd be like, hey, and next thing I know, and it was like, Daddy, every time I see you, when we do see you, you sleep.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it was one of them, when I found a job that was going to provide us with the money to take care of the household, which would give me more time, I jumped at it. Right. When my job of 10 years closed down suddenly, literally in a span of about 3 years, I worked 4 different jobs in a span of 3 years, where I was at one job for almost 10. Because it was, when I was doing the other ones, I was having to work 2 jobs. Not even wanting, but having to work 2 jobs to make sure everything was covered. Right. You know what I'm saying? The first year of marriage, she didn't work. She stayed at home. She was with kids. Everything was paid. But then when that call said, hey, we got 6 months left, we closing this job. Mm-hmm. It was like, whoa, hold up. Baby, I'm gonna need you to get up, because I know they said they're gonna pay me out for X amount of time. I got this other job lined up, but then when that's over, if I don't find something, we might be struggling. Right. We gotta figure something out.
Right. I think for me, when I hear someone say, oh, as a female, you're too masculine, or you're emasculating to a guy, I think strength. To me, masculinity should simply mean be another word for strength. But like you guys said, traditionally it means so much more. Siobhan, in our last episode when we talked about being feminine, she read off the definition of being feminine versus masculine. And when we spoke more so to the feminine side, because that's what we're talking about. But speaking to the masculine side, it's just as the extreme of the opposite. So, and it's not right, because it makes it seem in definition, just literal definition, that you're just a horrible person. You're just mean.
It's so extreme. And I will say, I did look up the definition of masculine. And quite frankly, and I got it from dictionary.com. I didn't go to Merriam-Webster, because they're the same people that changed the definition of vaccine. No, I needed who was going to stick with the original. I don't want somebody changing. So the definition, truly, of masculine is traits or characteristics of a man. And for that purpose, femininity or being feminine are the traits and characteristics of a woman. Now, what I read, which was so polar opposite, was the social definitions or the social traits and characteristics of each of those. Mm-hmm. And it was so because again, the literal dictionary definition is that simply. So characteristics and traits of what makes someone masculine or feminine is really defined by the society that you're in. And the social definitions in American context were so extreme. It was literally like feminine is soft, masculine is hard, feminine is emotional, masculine is like never shows emotion, feminine is this.
It was the extreme.
It's so extreme. And nobody is that extreme. Like I would hope. I won't say nobody. But like it would not be healthy.
Hard, and they probably need to see counseling because they're dealing with a lot of issues.
It's not healthy for anybody to be one for the other. And it's biologically impossible, which is the other thing that I said under femininity is men and women, whether they want to admit it or not, both have estrogen and testosterone, period. That's just facts. What The difference tends to be levels. And quite honestly, as you go through life, your levels are going to fluctuate, whether you're prepubescent or for a woman, you're in menopause or you're in the prime of your life. A lot of what we consider masculine and feminine is just that. It's a social construct. And I think when people talk about toxic masculinity, it's the focus on the extremes of not only are you strong, but like, I'm strong enough to lift the world atlas. That's just not healthy. And when people talk about feminine, because there is toxic femininity, people do not talk about it. But one of the traits that to me is extremely toxic femininity is manipulation, because I know a lot of women that do that.
And they teach their daughters how to do it. Oh, baby, this is how you get what you need out of a man. Oh.
But for masculinity, to the point of what Rob, the husband, said, as far as women raising children, I mean, that goes back to just historical periods. I feel like the problem has become, I think we got to the point where people were like, and I remember hearing this in the 90s, a woman can't raise a man. And I think that became true, but I think that became true because these women didn't see a real man. Let's take my lovely co-host Michelle and Malachi, for example. I knew Michelle was going to be able to do this because she had strong men in her life. She had a true father figure. She had someone that she could say, if nothing else, I'm going to raise my son to be this or to be similar to this. I think a lot of women don't have that, whether it be because death by drugs, death by gangs, incarceration. You didn't have it. You didn't have that father. Abandonment, you did not see it. So all you saw were women. You don't know you can't look at somebody and say, I can raise you. And the flip goes for guys. Because a lot of men, I think, would be good single fathers to daughters if they had strong mothers. But if you didn't have a good mother, you're not gonna know what to do with that either. I think that's the trickle down effect that becomes problematic.
Right. And I think speaking on that, I think that you're absolutely right. That's something that today the husband and I were talking about. Speaking to masculinity, with me being stuck in the snow today, I literally had one person, it was an Asian guy, come knock on my window and offer me some type of assistance.
Chivalry's dead.
I literally watched men from other cars go to other men and shovel each other out. And they literally would walk past my car. I was out of my car a couple times trying to do it myself because I am who I am. Just trying to see. I knew, look, ultimately, and this is where I'm a realist, you probably gonna need a guy to help you with this one. But if you can do it, then girl, you about to be like, oh, pat on my back. I did it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to sit around and wait. I was going to sit around and wait on my husband and my father, but I wasn't going to do nothing. I wasn't going to go to the extreme. I'm just not doing anything. It was like, let me see. I'm that person. But speaking to him and my dad while they were in traffic trying to get to me, I spoke to the fact that what I was watching. And I said, this is why women think that chivalry is dead, because it would have been nothing for anyone. And this is why a lot of Black women have the claim that Black men don't care about them, because no one came to assist or even see, hey, are you okay? Do you need gas? Like, in nothing. But I also, at the same time, recognize women, we did this. And I'm sorry, y'all not gonna like me. I don't care. We did this because we're so independent that toxic femininity. We don't need no man. Oh, why you holding the door for me? I ain't need you. The little stuff. So when things like this happen, men go, yeah, I'm not about to get cussed out, or this. So it's that side of it. But the other side of it to me is this. A lot of the women, you have raised these men. So if your sons are not chivalrous, blame yourself because you didn't teach them that. Did you teach your son to hold the door? Now, yes, I understand that as grown people, we have decisions, but there are habits. There are natural things that we do just out of habit. And that's one. My sons have that out of habit. They will hold the door. Now, it's not all the time, but majority of the time they will hold the door. Majority of the time is, I got this. Majority of the time is, let me get the bags out of the car. So you get what I'm saying? So if chivalry is dead, females, it's your fault. You didn't teach your sons, your nephews to be chivalrous. And that's my opinion. You don't at me. I don't care. I said what I said. Take it up with your therapist.
But I do think, again, that a lot of that comes from what I said at the outset, or to start this, was because, especially speaking specifically to Black women in the Black community, you didn't have it. Yeah, there are women who did this and who raised their sons wrong, if you will. But I understand to an extent if you did not see a strong man and then you did that. I get that. But we'll have a time, I'm sure. So my question to you, Minno, since we've been talking about masculinity, y'all have heard us more than we probably should have, because it's about y'all. What is your take on toxic masculinity? Because that's like the buzzword of the day out here in these streets.
The last 3 years.
Well, here's my thing. Is it actually toxic masculinity? Or is it just the fact that somebody doesn't like what you're giving them? So in order to knock down what you're doing, I'm gonna put this label of it being toxic because you're not gonna conform to what I want you to do. And it works both ways, but a lot of times, society, that's what we do.
That's true.
Right.
Because he's not gonna let her do this. That's that toxic masculinity. How you know she didn't sit back so he could take that lead role? And how you know he didn't give her opportunity to do that and she didn't step up? So now he has to assert himself into that to make sure that it happens.
I think that came up from imbalanced households. I'll say it like that, because the two people didn't realize that their ideas and views didn't match from the jump. And somebody on the outside looking in, may see it and like, why does he treat her like that? Why does he do that? Why is that household like this? When from the jump, he may have been stating that and it just wasn't heard. Or they're on the outside looking in and it works in their household, but it wouldn't work in the person's household that's looking in. So they're like, that toxic masculinity. Meanwhile, they got a balance in the house. They're good. They're fine. And there's some households that's like that. I'm not necessarily saying it's going to work for me, but there's some households that's like that. But it's always somebody else's it's always somebody else's opinion, that usually causes, the phrase, or comes up with the phrase toxic masculinity, And
yeah.
Because I look at it like this. Men and women were different. We were made to be different. So, in us being different, you're going to be different than me.
Right.
I'm going to be different than you.
Right.
She's going to be different than me. She's going to be different than me. So it's one of them. I may be better at certain things than she is and vice versa.
Right.
So you have to kind of find that median. Hey, look, this is what you're going to do because you know how to do that. I might struggle a little bit, or I may not. I may be good at it, but I may not have patience.
Right.
Because some of us, and I'm going to be real, me, a lot of stuff, I'm not there in my life. Patience is not a virtue for me. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you right now, like, when I say, hey, this is what I want, I mean now. I don't mean next week, in a couple months, now.
But you see how the dynamics of a person is different, where that's where you are, that's where she is. So when speaking to masculinity, people may think, she's too masculine, she's emasculating, she's too strong, she's too independent. But I feel like, what is it called? Your life story, like your life cycle. plays a major part in things.
It's hard to turn the switch off.
It is hard. It's hard to turn the switch off. Two, it may not be necessary for you to turn the switch off because, like you said, you're only seeing this piece of it. And this piece of it may be this, but this big chunk over here is what that majority is calls for it. You need that because you wouldn't get the result of what you were trying to get in order if you didn't have it. So, but that your life story plays a part in it. But in speaking to the whole thing about, have you ever felt emasculated? As men who are, in my opinion, very masculine, and again, strong leadership, like masculine men. Has there ever been a time where you're like, oh, I just feel emasculated?
I will definitely take this one. I'm going to say this. Yes, and it was with her, and I'll tell you why. Right. But the thing is, she's going to know the moment, and she's not going to know that that's what I felt. So, previous relationship, I was the provider, guaranteed. Not saying other money didn't come in the house, but I was the provider to the point where I would work 7 days a week. I actually did one whole year, 7 days a week, whole damn year. I got off for a death. I can't remember, one of the family members. That was the day that I had off. Oh, and I got sick. I think I got it to the point where I couldn't really see. So I had like 2 days off that year. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. So
because you should have went to sleep.
Right, you worked yourself to death.
Yeah, I worked, and that's 2 hours. 2 hours of sleep. 2 hours of sleep every night for a year.
Shut off.
Yes. So, but just listen. But again, what did I say? Part of being masculine is being able to go above and beyond some of the things that you're not even comfortable with. You know what I mean? My father always told me that you are expected to be the provider regardless of what the other person is doing. That's just social construct. That's just how it is. You're expected to do. If you're not doing it, you're considered less of a man. And it's proven to be because you see where that is short now. Like you don't have that. So one of the things that I had to adjust to
how did I
was actually getting help.
Oh.
Because
I'm not
it wasn't asked for. I didn't ask for shit. Excuse me. Sorry. Don't know if I can say that, but I didn't ask for anything.
No. And I was laughing.
Matter of fact, when we started dating and getting closer, I was working 3 jobs. I was working my regular job, 40 hours. I was working overnight, 2 to 4 hours a night. And I was working every other weekend or like holidays, driving billboards for like 8 hours a day. So I was working technically 7 days a week and 4 nights to 5 nights out the week. And she was telling me, she was like, look, this job is just killing you at night. I'm like, you don't think I know that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you don't think I know that? I know that, but I need that cushion. I don't have that cushion. Meanwhile, my job was slowly, I'm getting raises. And finally I got to a point where she was like, well, I think you should give up the night job. I got you. What does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean you got me? So I remember I was looking at bills and stuff and I was like, dang, I'm short. And she was just like, here you go. What's that? You know what I mean? Like, cause I'm not used to that. And she was like, it's yours because I'm in the house. I create bills. So this is my part. And I'm like, nah, I got you because I work this weekend and I'll get it. And she pretty much shoved it down my throat and was like, give it back.
That was the emasculating part.
You know what I mean? Like, yes. It was like, give it back if you want to, and I'm gonna swing on you next. This is your money. And I wasn't used to that. So it didn't sit well with me, right? And I didn't make it a big thing with her, but it didn't sit like I lost sleep over this. Like
it was a self-battle that you had to kind of conflict.
Right, because I needed it and it was provided, but I'm so used to something that I need, I just get it because there was nobody there to say, here. You know what I mean? Like I've had my moments. I slept outside for a while. I made some good and bad decisions, but I slept outside because there was nobody to go, here you go. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't there. So I always had like a fail-safe job, always had a way of making extra money when I needed it. I was not used to getting the help consistently.
Right. So
because same time the next month, she was like, here you go. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Because I didn't.
So to speak to that question, with the way my brain thinks, I know you say you felt emasculated, and I understand, because of, you weren't used to that. I get that. I completely understand it. For me, hearing that, to me, I feel like that example to me is toxic masculinity. And it's toxic because you're not used to getting help. You get what I'm saying? I feel like not being used to getting help when someone is there to help you, that's a toxic trait. Because and I'm not saying, you, but I'm just saying, to me, that sounds more of an example of something being toxic, because that's bad for you.
Right.
And it shouldn't be seen as emasculating, because that, you get what I'm saying? To me, but again, people could say that's me because I'm a female and I'm used to getting help, and that's not true.
Right.
And to me, I feel like that will be more of a toxic trait.
Right.
Not knowing how to take the help versus I'm too strong.
Like I'll say this. I understand why I get why. No, first and foremost, I never, when you asked if you ever felt emasculated, I'm gonna be whole serious. I thought you were gonna go to dummy. I at no point thought this was gonna come to me. I thought this was gonna go to the that's why I was like, well, hold on. But the thing is, we're not going down that rabbit hole. But the thing is, the reason that I was like, oh wow, is, well, here's the thing. And I remember that. And I remember giving him money was his thing. And I remember, but I've done this with other men, friends that I've had that have been in tough times. And I'm like, here, just take care of it. Nah. And I realized, I found in my life experience that men it's very hard for men to take money from women. Mm-hmm. And I think that that is a masculine trait of, I got to get it myself. Mm-hmm. And I get that. And I'm not against that, fellas. Yes. Because I've also, not personally, but not really, known male leeches that just leech off women. And that to me is unacceptable as a man. Get your life. But I feel like if you are with someone, if you are men out here, if your woman is willing to help you financially, let me tell you that she really cares about you. And I'm going to say that for this reason, because I think it speaks to extremes, because women are taught not to go in our bag for nothing when it comes to a dude. I'm not paying for nothing when it comes to a guy. So if a woman is willing to go in her pocket for you, that is her having your back. That is her really telling you that I'm here for you, babe. I got you. Like, because the toxic feminine side of that is a gold digger, basically. Right. You go to the extreme of it, it's a gold digger. Is the extreme, which becomes, again, toxic femininity, is that. I think, to me, and I agree with Michelle, that's very toxic, and I understand where it came from.
I do too.
But I think that's a very toxic place that men go, where they won't accept help. Now, I'll say for me personally, that I have been told by non-boyfriends, but random dudes, that I was too masculine to ever find someone. And that being partially because, one, like the husband, I am not patient. Patient is not my thing. It's never been. And a lot of that is because I grew up an only child. I get it done. If I had something that needed to get it done, I had to take care of it. I've lived by myself for 10 years. So me coming out of that and then just suddenly being like, here are all my burdens, lay your burdens by the riverside. I was not gonna lay my burdens on anybody's riverside except Jesus, okay? And even with Jesus, I'm like, I got it. I think a lot of the stuff that I put myself in, God is like,
he said give them to, but you still working. Like,
I mean, you working, but my thing is, I won't even lay them on that riverside. I feel like just lay your burdens down. I'm like, nah, bruh, I got this. Lay your burdens down. I will be back when I got this together, because that's who I am. And me being who I am, I also was like, you know what? I'm living here. I'm gonna pay rent. Like, that's really what it came down to, guys. For full disclosure, I was just paying rent essentially. I still pay rent. I mean, I call it rent. It's not really rent at this point, but I called it rent. And to me, it was, I moved out of my apartment. I moved in here. I still run electricity. I still do gas, water. All of this is still housing. If I was out in the quote unquote real world, I would be paying rent. Like, I'm not gonna take advantage of a friend. And especially at the time, for like 2 years, most of the year and a half I've been living here, we were friends. Like, I'm not going to do that. I never would have thought that was emasculating, but I can understand it.
It was more so if we were going into a purchase or a rental together and we said, here's my income, here's your income, can we afford this? Yes, we can. Okay, how much do we need to put in the pot planned out? But I had already made this bill. So it was already my bill. So I know I have to take care of my bills. Even with her being in the house, there was still an invitation or a welcoming. You know what I mean? With no expectation. I didn't expect you to pay for anything. I didn't expect you to put any money into anything. And she sent it to me the first time. And I was like, rent? What's this rent? What is this? You know what I mean? Because I wasn't expecting it. And I hit her up. I was like, what's this? And I'm like, I'm gonna send it back to you. She was like, no, I made
sure I was doing like ding.
Right. But it was because that's not me. If I have bills, they're my bills. I don't really expect, unless we sit down and actually had a conversation and say, hey, we're putting all our bills in this pot and we're going to split it in half and I'm going to pay half and you're going to pay half and that way we can make it. That's a conversation that needs to be had, but it can be done. That's not how this was done. So I didn't know how to take it. And literally, I called my father. Well, I called my sister first and said something about it. She was like, I don't even know why the hell we're having this conversation.
Thank you, Crystal.
And I'm like, you don't. But again, the thing is, my sister's never been in the house by herself. And she has had, and I'm not saying this doesn't take away from her because she's been with the job that she's been with for like 22 to 25 years. Mm-hmm. She makes great money. But she never really was in a house by herself. So I guess she was used to people chipping in when needed, when it first started or whatever. I wasn't. I've been in the house by myself a couple times. And, I've been in the house with people and still had to hold it down. So I learned not to expect certain things. And it was just kind of hard to make the adjustment. And I called my father and my father was like, and you don't have a ring on her finger? It's like,
thank you, Papa Rice.
Right. This is when I stated this to him, he was like, you don't have a ring on her finger? He said, let me tell you what, son, you don't find women that sacrifice their money up front when they don't have to. I'm not saying all women are like that, but you didn't ask her for any money, right? No. You didn't say these bills need to be paid. No. And she just offered X amount of dollars. Yes. You don't have a ring on her finger. Let me talk to her real quick. And he was just like, he said, look.
He was gonna be like, don't give him another time.
Right, probably. He don't understand nothing. Didn't I tell you? But his conversation to me was simply, do you think that I've taken care of this household solely by myself, only on my income? And I'm like, that's not what I stated at all. I know both of y'all work wherever y'all work. And he's like, right. So you have somebody that you can actually do that with. I don't understand what the problem is. And I'm like, well, you always worked, you did this and this, you brought this in the house and you worked 24 hours a day and this and this. He's like, yes, do you think I wanted to work 24 hours a day to do this and this and this? No. He was like, but even with the combined income, it wasn't enough. So I had to go make more. If you're at a point where you literally can survive off of your job and what she contributes, you have an open moment to build. And I had to look at it like that. That's not how I saw it at first. And I know, and I didn't want her to take it personal, but that's how I felt because of years and years of what I was used to.
And just real quick on my side, and then I want to hear about the husband emasculating because I'm curious on that one. I'll say this: my mother always taught me don't ever be anybody's burden. Period. And she also taught me don't ever rely and depend on a man. Period. You need to be able to stand on your own because you never know when somebody who's there will be gone, either death or walk out. So For my own mental me, I had to pay something. I was never gonna live rent free anywhere because I feel like I was always gonna pay for it somehow, especially as a woman. Either you paying on your back, or you paying out your pocket, or for me, I was gonna be paying mentally. Like, I'm gonna take these mental scars. I'm not gonna feel like me if I'm just laying here, even if we're not doing anything physically. So he's like, no, I'm not even expecting any of that. Okay, I'm not me if I'm not contributing, because then I feel like a leech, and that's not who I am. So that, I will say that was my thing. So the husband over there, have you ever felt emasculated, or should I say, has anyone tried to emasculate you? Would probably be a more apropos question.
I mean, yes. And
Wait, yes to which one?
Right, to which one?
Tried?
no,
Or actually succeeded?
Oh, okay.
I mean, many have tried. Many have tried because, again, you know, when folks get upset with you, you know, a lot of people are like myself, take shots, you know. So yeah, many have tried, but with my mentality, I've never really cared enough to really care what most people say to me or think of me. And that's pretty much how I've lived my life. That's why I've been able to be who I am, where regardless what anybody says, I'm gonna continue to do me. I know what needs to be done, and then I keep it moving. But ironically, it would have definitely been this one here. I've never in my life been jealous of a female, period. Of any woman I've dated, ever. And this was probably within the last maybe year and a half or so. It's one of them, like, I know, you know, they say, you know, within relationships, you hit the ups and downs and them dry spurts. But when you're dealing with someone that you love and you feel like you sacrificed for, to either hear them say or feel like you aren't enough, or, you know, to hear them say or feel like, you know, they're no longer attracted to you, or you're not, you know, that desire isn't there, that definitely plays to your psyche. You know what I'm saying? Where it brings out, it can definitely bring out a ugliness in you at times. So yes, I've definitely been there. But as far as, like I said, previous relationships is one of them. Don't care, because most of the time it's just that, it's a relationship. Bye. Quick, and that's bye. Because again, but it's bad, because any place I've lived, for the most part, it's mine. My name's generally on it, or I'm the one paying the sole bills. So it's one of them. I can definitely do this without you. Bye. There's the door. Good riddance. Enjoy your life. Wish you the best. You know what I'm saying? But when you say I do, you can't. Even though you might have them thoughts at times, it's one of them, like, nah, I signed up for, you know, for better or for worse.
For a lifetime.
But if I kill her, then I mean, it would be death do us part, right? Like, you know, she could go in her sleep, but when nobody know. but it's one of those, like, yeah, it's we definitely, like, it's been times where, and now, you know, we're fighting a drug that has, you know, not to get too personal, we're fighting a drug that has, like, you know, desensitized her at times, where, you know, neurons may be firing in one place, but then they're not firing in the other, and, you know, and it's a lap band here that, you know, it's not getting through this way, or it's not getting through this way, and I'm sitting here like, but baby, I'm, you know, like, you look good, like, thank you. But,
I just died.
do I need to get negative free from the chandelier?
From the chandelier.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I was curious. I was like, wait, jealous of me? Huh? What? Okay, but now that yes, I understand. I can understand how that can be, a thing too. Because as guys, a lot of times, if you're a child, it's okay to listen for educational purposes. Sex is equivalent to masculinity.
Yes.
Do you guys feel? And which is why the whole.
In a way.
I'm not saying all the way. No, I'm not saying it's the whole thing. I'm saying a lot of times, like when you start talking about sex, you start talking about, being masculine, because when you start talking about sex, from society's point of view, heterosexual is, oh, I'm the guy, I'm gonna hit it from the back, and it's all,
I think masculinity has been equated a lot with sex when it comes to more so than with femininity. I think
hold on, because as a woman, we are told, our bodies are precious. Hold them close. You don't give them to everyone. When everyone should be taught that, but where women, it's keep it close, lock it down, clank, clank, all of that. For a guy, as he gets older, the masculine part goes, oh, yeah, hit that joint. Prove you're a man. Like, like that whole, I don't know.
I think a lot of that comes from, I'll say this, biologically, a lot of
But that's what I'm saying.
That comes from society. As a man, that comes from society. And
Well,
I say that because I've been on both ends of the spectrum. And I say that because, again, going through high school, being who I was, everybody assumed, oh yeah, he hitting all this. And I wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
And it's you the man.
High school wise, no. If I was talking to you in high school, it was you. Just women tried to flirt with me, but again, no. If I was in a relationship, I was in that relationship. Now, as I branched out and I got older and I got to college, and it was one of them. For one, I had distance with me and the person that I was dealing with. We were in two separate states. And it was that and that immaturity level when it's, oh, I finally got freedom. I'm on my own. I'm not under my parents' roof, branched out. You know what I'm saying? You enjoy yourself. But I think as men and women, yes, we both, quote unquote, sow our oats, yes. But I think when it comes to sex as a man, that's a way for us to show love. Physical intimacy is our way of showing love. So, when it comes to kissing, hugging, rubbing, sex, that's our way to show, yes, we love you, especially when you're in a relationship. I'm not saying when you just hitting random joints in the street. No. But that's our way to connect. The same way a lot of women, you guys want to have conversations and things like that. So it's one of them, all right, we can do this, but can we also do this? Can we meet in the middle? I don't have a problem doing this, but I don't want to only do this.
Right, but I'm not talking about relationship, baby. I'm talking
but I get what you're saying. What you're saying, and honestly, yes. I think masculinity, sex is often equated with masculinity, not in even the sowing of oats, but just in the acts. And part of that is because it's looked at societally as conquest. As I said, we don't really hunt. Like men don't really hunt like that. So society-wise, you still have that drive and that need. And a lot of it has become men hunt women, if you will. That's just the whole, even when it's called the game, like think about what that even means. Like you're hunting game, literally big African safari animals, everything else. Like it's that. But the other part of it biologically is a lot of the aggression that comes from the initiator or initiation of sex, the initiation of sex is largely based on aggression. That aggression largely comes from testosterone. Testosterone is largely equated with masculinity in men because they have more than women. As I said at the outset, we all have both. But women are not encouraged to really tap into their testosterone. It's more tap into your estrogen to be pretty and whatever and stand around and be the deer that wants to get hit. Take that how y'all want to. But it's that like it sounds crazy, but that's
I understood. It just had so many meanings. It had two meanings to it. It was like, yeah.
But see what that's why I said it the way that I said it. Because that's what it is. It's like men are told testosterone, you have testosterone, you need to go hunt. Women have testosterone too, where we will often go, depending on your age and where you are hormonally, go, ooh, and where you are in your lunar cycle, we'll call it, you will go, ooh, I need to. But society says that if I go and jump on this hunter's gun, that I'm being too aggressive. So I can't really go do that because that's masculine. I can't be that aggressive. I have to be passive aggressive, which means I need to be the prettiest deer out here and basically just keep walking in front of his gun and hope that he hits. Like, that's like, but that's why I feel like, yeah, like, but that's why it is. That's why you have all these women in competition and everything else. I feel like that's why when she says masculinity is equated a lot to sex and sex is equated to masculinity, that is why.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the conquest. I get that. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
but it changes. So the conquest, I think early masculinity is more.
Yes. Yes, because remember,
did you hit
the Roman times?
You know what I mean? Like, and I think it changed from random hits to now I got the big game. Now I caught the big game. Now I got this, and now it's keeping. The conquest is keeping you pleased, keeping you there, keeping you wanting to be here with me. That's And
I don't think a lot of men get ever evolved to that point. I think there are too many men out here who still feel like the conquest is how many deers can I target and take out versus, okay, I have this big game. How do I keep it interested? I think there's also societally, there is this pressure on women that you have to stay pretty, you have to stay this, that, and the third, because over a certain age, you over the hill, nobody's gonna want all of this, where men don't really get that. So I feel like that's the other part of masculinity is that. And I agree. I think it's a matter of evolution of your masculinity, as with the evolution of femininity.
I think that's true. I think this is actually very informative for those who don't know, or who have, by some crazy chance, have never heard of these arguments between men and women, and being strong and being weak, and being masculine and being feminine, and all of that. And so if this is your first time hearing these arguments, ta-da, welcome. Welcome to real life. Welcome to the life of having two opposite sexes. But this was a wonderful conversation. And on that note, we say,
cheers to that. Yeah, I can't.
I don't have my thing.
It's all good.
I forgot.
So now that the glasses are empty, how about y'all go? Oh, all right. I'm gonna let
I gotta live up to our word. We said they was empty, so I gotta make sure they're empty. Even though my husband overpoured.
Listen, I've been in report. So all right.
Yes, the glasses are empty, so I'll let the husband go first. I'm gonna be chivalrous. Can a woman be chivalrous? That's a whole nother topic. Go.
The fact that you let a man go first is but
you punk.
I'm gonna give this a 3 because it's definitely sweet, but it's not super sweet. Like I've had some that were like way worse, but you would definitely want to, if you had it, make sure you're not eating nothing with sugar. Anything with sugar is gonna take this over the top.
Typical Stella Rose. So my rating is gonna be a 2.5. I am learning that me and Stella Rose are not friends. For me, this is another version of what my sisters and I call Doc Juice. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this should be considered wine. I think this should be considered maybe a wine cooler, like a Seagram's, or what's it? Jersey Mike. What? Not Jersey Mike. What's it? Is it Jersey Mike's the little wine cooler?
I know that.
I don't know. Hard Mike. Somebody Mike's.
Jersey Mike's is a sub shop.
It is. I thought Hard Mike made lemonade.
Yeah, that
Mike's lemonade or something.
Mike's name is somewhere. But that's what I'm saying.
They got different flavors now. So it's not just lemonade anymore.
Right, but no, like I feel like that's what this is along the lines of. I'm sorry, Stella Rose. I am not a fan. It says the rating is a 6 in sweetness. I would say that probably is true because it wasn't as sweet as the wine, either of the previous wines that I had. It's just I'm not a big fan of honey to begin with, so that's why I got a 2.5.
She be needing her.
I be needing it. There's a lot of things I need that I don't like. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, mine is a 2.5, and that's where I'm at. And how about you guys?
So I'm gonna let the boyfriend go about this red apple first.
The boyfriend.
Le boyfriend.
It doesn't taste like wine.
No.
I thought this was juice, like spiked with Sprite a little bit. I don't know what to rate it because it's not a wine. I'm sorry. A wine cooler. Yes, it's not a wine. There's nothing about it that says wine. For a wine, I give it a 1. That's for a wine. If somebody say, hey, you want some of this juice? It's decent for a juice. It's sweet, but it's not a wine. I would drink Moscato first, and I don't like Moscato.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
Because at least Moscato has a bite.
Somewhere.
This tastes like apple juice with a little bit of Sprite.
A basic beer has more alcohol than this is.
Man.
here's the thing. I really like the taste of it. I do. It wasn't too sweet. But the thing is, it tastes like apples. Like I like apples. Okay. So it tastes like the fruit that it said it was, which is why I didn't get watermelon because I don't like watermelon. Why I didn't get the peach because peach gets funny to me. And even like, I have to agree that Stella Rosa is mislabeled because it is not a wine to me. It reminds me more of like a sparkling cider. Like this, if it weren't for the fact that I know it's got like an ABV on it, a true like it has alcohol in it, I would give this to kids. Like I would truly like if we were all toasting. Yeah, okay, let's get them their wine, their sparkling cider. That's what Stella Rosa has been to me. Even that or juice, because the last one I had, the black last week, I actually thought it was okay. I actually liked it, but then literally the next day when I went to drink it again, it just tasted kind of like the bubbles had kind of dissipated. So it was like semi-flat grape juice. Like I tasted the raspberry, all the berries in it. It tastes like a berry juice. This is not, it doesn't keep that wine. I don't know what their fermentation process is or any of that, but it is truly to me more along sparkling cider. So for the taste is a 4 to me. It was a great apple taste. For a wine though, like a 2, because it's not
a wine.
Really, it's like an apple cider. I don't.
See, y'all didn't tell me we were judging 2 different things, I feel cheated now, I tried to give it an overall rate,
I mean,
but no,
hey, look, I gave it an overall. You got
look, here's a fun fact. I drank over half a bottle of the Blackberry earlier. That's how I know it ain't really no alcohol in here.
No.
Like when I say to you, I was like, "What is this? Grape juice?" Like,
yeah, I had none of that.
But you know what? They are a company that legit. That's what they pride themselves on. They say low alcohol. They market themselves as a low alcohol drink. Like, again, if it weren't for the fact that I know it has something in here, I would literally consider it a sparkling cider and give it to kids for like a festive occasion. Because it's sparkly, it's bubbly, it's fruity. They would probably like it, but it is low alcohol. Stella Rosa across the board is pretty much low alcohol. And I think the only reason you might feel anything is because of the bubbles. The carbonation is right. What you're feeling.
So, ladies and gentlemen, ultimately, what we are saying in reference to the Stella Rosa brand, if you are a person, most of the time it's particularly young people who doesn't drink wine, Stella Rose may be a nice way to slide into an entry wine. No, I say this because most people who don't drink wine, the first thing they think is it's too tart. It's not sweet. It's so, but they'll drink, I understand that, but they'll drink juice. They'll drink what we're saying about this wine. So if nothing else, this will be a good, hey, and I mean, this is the
if
wine.
If you want some alcohol in your sparkling cider.
Right. That's what this is. If you, this is what I'm saying. If you're the type of person where you're not going to drink a wine cooler, but you want something in a wine cooler in a wine bottle because you don't really drink wine because you think it's too tart, Stella Rosa is your brand. That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
To get, and it, like I said, and for most, it'll probably be an introduction. As you get introduced to it, sometimes it's mental. Mentally, you'll go, oh, I'm drinking a wine. So then when you go out, you might feel froggy one day and say, hey, I listened to a little something to wine about, and they said this wine was sweet. Let me try it. And if you do that, come back and let us know in the comments. We want to hear from you. Let us know when you pop that grape, what it tasted like.
But that's Stella Rosa ain't gonna be a
well, I'll say this. I think it's this. If you're in Stella Rosa is your intro and you like this isn't bad, Stella Rosa is that gateway to get you to Moscato, that gets you to the next, that gets you to the next. It's the gateway. But it's
the gateway. Right. It's just the last to the gate before you open it. That's it. It's just the last to the gate before you open it. So this may be something that you want to try. That's the point in this. If you're not a wine person, but you kind of want to try something and you know it has to be sweet, Stella Rosa is your brand. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes this wonderful, wonderful episode in the new year. Of a little something to learn about with your host, Ty Michelle.
And Siobhan Camille.
And of course, join us each and every Wednesday as we will be talking about a new topic, and we have new series for each week. We'll give you an update on that soon. We would like to thank the husband and La boyfriend for joining us today on this Whining with the Guys episode. And like we said, if you have an entry wine that you feel that you've tried and you want to let us know about it, let us know. Send us a comment. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at a little something, the number 2, wine about. Again, that's a little something, the number 2, wine about. And as always,
there's nothing wrong with a little wine.
Toodles.